Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's see what kind of crazy shit some of my fellow Americans have decided to post upon the internet at my expense. Let's go. I gotta hype myself up for this, because this is painful. U.S. defaultism. For those that don't know, this is the phenomenon on the internet where Americans think everybody else is American. Everybody else on the internet. Maybe in the world. I don't know. Top post. What? Why people don't speak English with foreigners? Well, it sounds like you barely speak English. So I'm visiting Moscow and I noticed that literally no one speaks English. In Russia? Okay. Except for hotel receptionists, which their job is to. Their job is to speak English? That's interesting. From random people in the street to shopkeepers and even people who work in tourist visiting areas, when I ask them simple questions, they nod and say something in Russian. They speak in Russian. That's shocking. In Moscow. Or just say something like, no English. How dare they? No English? Is this rage bait? And all my friends who visited Russia suffered the same problem. It sounds like you made the Russians suffer. Even a lot of signs are only Russian, and goddamn, there is tons of grammatical errors and typos. It's like they never saw a non-Russian person before. Is it an educational problem? Or some national ego and patriotism? You know what? For the sake of my sanity, I'm just going to go ahead and say, no proof this guy's American. I'm going to assume he's British. Moving on. r/no stupid questions. We'll see about that. How do Americans have accents? How do they? Freaking magnets. How do they work? I talked to someone who was British, and they talked about American accents. I corrected him and said, we don't have accents. Is this the same person? I swear to God, this must be the same person. Another friend further stated that we do in fact have accents, but I just don't understand how, because I never talk British. I never talk British. I was thinking the other day that, like the old school robot voice, because nowadays robots can, like AI can actually speak like a human, but back in the day it was like, hello, how are you? That was the closest thing to no accents, if you could speak English without an accent. I think that's it. With that said, that's probably not even right. They're probably speaking with an accent. I don't know. I'm just trying to distract myself from what this guy said. I don't need this in my life. I regret even reading this. They're going to have to delete this subreddit. No stupid questions. This guy proved them wrong. It was too stupid for even this subreddit. It got 0 upvotes. American from open carry state thinks he can open carry a knife in the UK. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's got nothing to do with me being American. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. But I didn't know you couldn't do that. You can't carry a knife in the UK. It's just interesting because to me it's kind of like, what if you're eating a steak? Okay, I know I'm being kind of stupid. It's for fun. Let me read this, okay? U.S. tourist arrested in seaside town because he didn't understand UK laws. Holidaymaker reportedly from an open carry U.S. state had UK weapons laws explained to him by officers. Okay, I need an elaboration. He was carrying a knife, so I guess at least he'd understand. understood that he couldn't bring a gun here. He thought being from an open carry state meant he could just open carry a knife. Hold on. Hold on. Did he actually say that? That's what I need to know, okay? For the sake of my sanity, guys, you have to understand. I have to at least try to have some kind of reasonable resolution to these things. Did he say he thought because he was from an open carry state? Because here in America, open carry, like as far as when you think of open carry, we're talking about guns. We're not talking about knives. So for him to say, "Oh, I'm from an open carry state," I don't like. That's honestly kind of hard to believe. That's because that's not how you apply that typically. I've never heard it applied to knives. Knives is not something anybody worries about here in America, okay? It's guns. We don't have the luxury of worrying about whether someone is armed with a knife. And he openly carried that knife on a beach. Who the hell takes a knife to a beach? Americans. Americans do. A lot of Americans carry knives, just pocket knives, anywhere, especially if you're in the country. You know, it's like a little tool. You know. Hey. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. I don't carry my knife everywhere, but I would not carry it to a beach just because that sounds like what are you gonna need to use it for there? With that said, my point is, he probably just didn't know that was illegal. To be honest, I didn't either. Which of course can be, you can attribute that to the fact that we are American, so a knife it's not even like on our radar of like, oh, can I carry this? There's people carrying around M16s legally, like straight up legally. You can literally just walk down the street with a AR-15 strapped to your back in the city. You can do that here in America. So yeah, I mean, I think that's just a cultural bad mistake. Who does he have beef with? Seagulls? It's interesting. To be honest, I don't think of a pocket knife as being like, yeah, you might carry it for self-defense, but it's typically used, at least like here in the country, it's not considered like, oh, you've got a pocket knife for protection. It's more so like you've got a pocket knife to cut some cord, cut a tree branch, a little twig, sharpen a twig. What if you end up stranded? I don't know, guys. This is actually kind of fascinating to me, this one. Now, I will say, if he did say, oh, I'm from an open carry state, you don't get it. I'm American. I'm from an open carry state. This is legal because I'm American. Then obviously he's a moron. Is this count as a defaultism? Yeah, this is... Oh, wait, I already read this one. Wait, did I? Yeah, this is America. Gotta speak English at least a little bit. This is Germany. I'm not from America, which is why I'm talking German. Yeah, I already read that one. Why do Brits speak English in American language rather than speaking some European language? Insulin is the world's most expensive liquid. Injecting the world's most expensive liquid just so I can eat a bagel? I guess for an American it is. It's probably actually pretty cheap in the rest of the world, huh? The money symbol can only represent the US dollar. Thought this was in USD at first. Haha. Drives me nuts when someone makes a financial sheet and keeps USD currency symbols when it's not USD. They're reflecting. Okay, I don't see... I guess there's a currency sheet that has a US... Or not a US... has a money symbol. I will very embarrassingly admit that at one point in my life, I was probably... I can't really remember I can't say for sure, but I think I probably was under this assumption as well. Like, because there's like the euro symbol, you know, there's some other currency symbols, and then there's the S, and that was always the one, you know, as an American that you see, so you assume that's the US dollar. It's not. It's not. And I mean, I absolutely will admit that when I see a money, something written like $100, I assume it's 100 US dollars. That's bad of me, right? I guess that's wrong. But that is what I assume. So I'm in danger of getting posted on this subreddit for sure. A comment under a post about a man dying in a 90-degree sauna in Germany? Jesus. For many years, I ran 6 miles in Florida, humid 90 degrees weather. Not sure that would really kill someone. Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. Making all of us Americans look even more stupid. You contributed just a little bit to making the world think we're a little bit stupider. They already thought we're stupid enough. Thank you. How hot is 90 degrees Celsius? 194. Oh my God. That's so... Why would... Oh my God. Honestly, I don't really know how hot saunas typically get. What's a normal sauna degree? Sauna temperature. Okay. Oh, it does go 150 to 195 is the range for a sauna. Damn, saunas get hot. I would probably die in there too. Rest in peace to that man. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry that this dumbass comment had to be left on your news story. At least he owned it. What do we got? We got a steak. Let's look at it. Medium. Okay. Okay. That's fine. It looks good. Boy dinner. What am I looking at? What is... Am I being stupid? Like, what even... Oh, there's another thing. Whew. I was like, I must really be American because I'm not even understanding what is the American thing going on here. But why are you eating dinner at 4 p.m.? Okay, first of all, I have to say this says medium rare, and I have to say that's medium. Anyway, this is England, right? I'm sorry. I have to think of like the Union Jack. Start subtracting things. You know, it's a math problem. That's the English flag. Oh, I forgot people live in other places in the world. Hey, at least he admitted it. Should Americans say, I deserve that? Hey, he admitted it. That's actually just funny. You almost can't even be mad, right? I mean, he said, at least he owned it. It's true. He full-blown face-palmed at himself. You got to give him a pass for that. Now, on a different note, what's actually funny is over here in the Midwest, people do eat dinner at 4 p.m. 4:30. 4 is early. I'm not going to lie. But eating dinner at 4:30, really not that unusual here in the Midwest. I do want some steak. I give this guy a pass. He owned it. He owned it. I mean, I could see myself doing this too, guys. So I have to give him a pass. Breaking. Rupert Lowe's gun collection has been seized by the police. A Reform UK spokesperson, keyword UK, said, Mr. Lowe is being investigated by the police for making multiple threats to kill our chairman. Damn. What about the Second Amendment? What about it? The Second Amendment of the UK Constitution? Apparently the UK doesn't even have a constitution. They have an unwritten constitution. Interesting. So there is no Second Amendment of the UK Constitution. Oh, you're talking about the Second Amendment of the US Constitution? What does that have to do with anything? This is even politics UK. Politics UK. Guys, what the hell? I just read the title here. Isn't that kind of weird? I've never spoken about that in my life. About robots being the only things without accents. Let's see here. There's no such thing as an accentless English anyway. Please don't try to change yours. Actually, .jpg, there is. In the middle states and for good portions of the West Coast, we don't have any accents. There are some exceptions in California, and some people affect an accent for some reason. What is he talking? Why is he speaking? God, this is like such stereotypical cringe lord Redditor speak right here. You know what I mean? Like this is bad. Actually, in the middle states, but worst of all, he's just dead wrong. He's condescending and wrong. I remember in the mid-90s, U.S. customer service companies used to try to hire English speakers that had little or no accent, especially Southern accents. Good for you, dude. Good for you. You're talking about no accent relative to where you lived? Got it. But this guy asks, do robots have accents? I don't know, they do.
Can we talk about the N-word for a second?
I'd rather not. What is happening? It's just muting itself.
There's only one N-word. And something that I've noticed in the last 8 years living in France is that the N-word is treated very differently in France than it is in the US. This makes sense given the US's history with slavery and that word. Whereas for French people, exposure to that word primarily comes through popular movies and music. And at the end of the day, even though the word is the same thing, it doesn't seem to carry the same weight here. And so people just say it. And when I mean people, I mean like my coworkers used to say this like it was not a problem, and I was like, hi, please don't ever say that around me. Like, that's not okay. Anyway, when a song is unedited and it's playing in a public place, I find that kind of amusing as an American because that's not something we ever see back home. Songs are always radio edits when they're in public places. But I just saw a post from the Paris 2024 account making a video with a song using that word not once but 3 times on their official account. And I totally get that French people seeing this video are not gonna bat an eye. But as an American seeing that video, I had to like triple check that this was on the official Paris Olympics account. Because
okay. I got bored of that one, to be honest. It's like, yeah. Hey, that's interesting. People who didn't call a certain race of people a derogatory slur don't think that slur is offensive, or it's not as offensive to them. That's interesting, I guess. I think I'm done with this till next week. I've really had enough. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.